Love 'em or hate 'em, Harley Davidson makes some loud motorcycles. And in 1984, they filed a sound trademark on the motor sounds of their motorcycle. In a rare show of solidarity, 9 motorcycle companies opposed the trademark registration, including Yamaha and Suzuki and Kawasaki and Honda. I'm going to talk about the Harley Davidson lawsuit in this video, and I'm going to share with you some sounds that you probably didn't know were trademarked. We're also going to talk about why sound trademarks are so hard to get, and stay to the end, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can protect the sound in your brand. Hi, my name is Carr Ferrell. I'm a Silicon Valley intellectual property attorney. Welcome back to my channel. As you may recall from one of my previous videos, a trademark is any word, phrase, symbol, or design that identifies your goods or services as belonging to you. It identifies your company as the source of goods or services. Trademarks provide 3 things primarily. Number 1, they identify the source of goods. Number 2, they do provide some legal protection for those goods and for the brand. And then finally, they help prevent counterfeiting and fraud. Now, it's important to understand that when you have a trademark in a word or a trademark in a sound, that you don't actually own the word, you don't actually own the sound, except as it applies to your goods and services. Now, just for fun, I'm going to play a couple of sounds. Shut your eyes for this one and just see if you can identify the source of goods or the source of services for these sounds. And this is a parlor game, by the way, that we trademark attorneys play at conventions to meet our legal requirements for continuing education. Hopefully you did better than the average trademark attorney in identifying these sounds. I've always found it a little curious that there's so relatively few sound trademarks that are listed on the principal register in the Patent and Trademark Office. This has been changing in the last few years, though, as a result of increased media channels and content and computer programs and applications that use sound. And the reason this is a little surprising to me is that sounds can be so powerful. They connect directly to our brain. They elicit an immediate emotional response. We experience something when we hear a sound that we don't experience. We don't have that same response when we read a word or see a symbol. So what happened to the Harley Davidson trademark registration effort, where they tried to register the sound of the Harley Davidson motor? Well, the argument that was being made by Harley Davidson was that they had tuned their mufflers, they had tuned their motor in a unique way to produce this classic Harley Davidson sound. And in fact, they had repressed other noises in the motor in order to enhance this singular sound. But the Harley Davidson competitors said no. They said this isn't a unique Harley Davidson sound at all. They said it's just the sound of the V-shaped motor that's being used by Harley Davidson and by many other manufacturers of motorcycles as well. In fact, the motor that was used by Harley Davidson had been around since 1909 and was not a new sound. It was not unique only to Harley Davidson. And after 6 years of fighting, finally Harley Davidson just gave up and abandoned their sound application in the Harley Davidson motor. So let me share some tips with you on how you can get your sound registered in the United States Trademark Office. Okay, first of all, your sound should be distinctive. It should be something that's associated with your product and something that's unique. Try to avoid sounds in nature, things like chirping birds and barking dogs, because those sounds are less distinctive and it may be more difficult to get some of those sounds registered as associated with your particular goods or services. A third tip is try to make your sound percussive to the extent that you can. I read a study some years ago that percussive words are much more memorable and easier to trademark or to use as a trademark than words that have soft intonation. For example, words like Togo and bingo. These are words that imprint on the brain very easily and serve well as trademarks, as words like Exxon and Henry are just more difficult to remember. And so I think the same thing probably applies to sounds. All else being equal, it's probably better to have a more percussive sound than a soft sound if you're trying to get trademark association with your product. And anecdotally, it seems recently that many of the sounds that have been registered in the United States Trademark Office have been synthetic sounds, or sounds that are artificially generated. And these probably would withstand scrutiny in the Trademark Office much more easily, say, than a barking dog or the sound of an angry hornet. If you'd like to learn some more about trademarks or intellectual property, feel free to download a copy of my book. It's free. It's in electronic form, called Monopoly Protection, and you can go to the first comment down below and click on the link there, and somebody will send you an electronic copy of my book. Okay, that's really all I have to say today about sound trademarks. If you have questions about sound trademarks or intellectual property in general, I'd love to read your questions and comments. Put them in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.